Well, hello everybody and welcome to the video. You may have seen in previous videos that I've done some work with Oximity with their new driver. They're helping me out with my brake pass series, trying to eliminate the right side of the golf course with their aim technology, which is basically, from your point of view, more of an offset looking driver, stopping that ball slicing out to the right or even helping players hit a bit more of a draw. Now, in other manufacturers, we focused on heel bias drivers, and I've got one here today, which is the Titleist TS1 driver, very heel weighted. It's going to help those players avoid that slice shot or hit more of a draw. However, with the offset version that we're seeing from Oximity, we're seeing even better results than what we're getting from these heel bias drivers. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to bring in an amateur golfer who is going to put these drivers to the test. He naturally hits a little bit of a fade, which is why he uses the Titleist TS1, where we're going to see if the Oximity can get it out there just a little bit longer and ultimately a little bit straighter. Let's get into the video. Oh, John. John. Absolutely delightful. Look at that. Now you should recognise this face. John Ogden, Big Oggy Golf. He's on YouTube. He's gone massive in TikTok. So if you are not checking him out on TikTok, make sure you do. But John, you have brought in your TS1 driver that you've been fitted for previously.
Yeah, we did a fitting with Titleist, and then we've had a couple of lessons with you. You've changed a few things on it as well, so It's been in my bag ever since it came out.
And how has it been going?
Kind of started off okay, but it becomes wild with me, and I've lost confidence in it. So I wanted to try and get a new driver. So
when you say wild, do you see it going in one particular way? Because you were a player, well, previously certainly you were a player that hit quite a heavy slice. You were very much out to in your swing path, and we were trying to almost like, well, we were trying to avoid that, weren't we? And trying to quieten your swing path down, which ultimately should allow you to hit straighter shots and hit more fairways. Yeah. Do you feel like you're getting that?
No.
Okay.
Basically, well, look, two reasons. One is I don't play enough golf.
Yeah.
Okay, like most amateur golfers, or certainly high to mid handicap golfers, we play on a weekend, we play every couple of weeks. We don't get enough practice in between.
Yeah.
So when you kind of lose confidence in something and you start seeing the really bad shots and you see them an awful lot on the course, you kind of think, oh, I need something different. I need something better. Just to feel, I need to increase my distances.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, if you see me on TikTok, you know I'm a putter. All right, I'm a putter guru, so they reckon.
Yeah.
So but get me on the green, and it's getting me to the green is a difficult thing. And if I've lost confidence in the driver, I just don't want to go anywhere with it.
Okay. So what we're going to do then, we're going to do something quite interesting today. We're going to get you to hit your own driver.
Okay.
Then I'm going to bring in an Oximity driver. I'm going to try and match it up as best I can with what you're currently using. But I also want to do. I've got a little something up my sleeve.
Okay.
Right, which hopefully will give everybody
always a worry.
Always a worry, but hopefully it will give people a bit of an insight into what I'm trying to get at when it comes to these drivers and testing them as a head-to-head.
Okay.
Let's get you warmed up. Let's get you hitting some shots and see how you get on.
Perfect. Thank you.
Now, whilst John is warming up behind me, I just wanted to run through what we've got in the setup of these two drivers. So TS1, his one is a 9.5 degree driver. It's set at A1, so it's set pretty much at standard. He's got a 40 gram speeder shaft. It's a regular flex, so it's super lightweight. But from a visual point of view, remember, it's very neutral in its look. If anything, it's a little bit onset than offset, so we're not getting that progression that we would get, let's say, from our irons into our woods. But what you've got is a lot of heel weighting inside this club, which is going to slow that heel down and quicken up the toe. If we compare it to the club that I've got, that is the Oximity that I want John to test today in a comparison. Now, this is a regular flex driver. This is 50 grams rather than what we're seeing in the 40 grams. So he's going to feel a little bit of a difference in the weight side of it. Now, from a head point of view, I've gone for a 10.5 degree head because it goes from 10.5 to a 9, and I want to try and just give him a nice little launch. However, I don't want the weight being pushed too far back. So what I've done in this set is I've kept the weight a little bit further forward. Yes, it's situated in the heel, but it brings that weight slightly forward. I don't want it too far back because I don't want him launching it and spinning it too much. Now, visually with this Oximity driver, it looks very different to what we're seeing out of Titleist. This has the offset. It has aim technology, which is basically meaning that the middle of this shaft is in line with the leading edge of the driver, which means that the front edge feels like it's slightly ahead of it. Like we'd see in irons, we're going to see a progression. So you're going to be more onset in your wedges and then progressively get more offset as you work up through to your longer irons where you need that help. This is where Oximity are attacking their drivers from. Okay, John.
Okay.
We're going to hit 10 shots with your drive. We're going to hit 10 shots with the Oximity drive. We're going to look at the numbers and see if there's any gains to be had or whether we're seeing differences in strike, differences in performance overall. But what I'm going to do, tee you up, and then I am going to turn off the screen.
Okay.
So we are going to now have a blind test for you today. Okay?
Perfect, yeah, because so I think sometimes you get confused by seeing all the lines and things you're trying to adjust.
I just want you to swing it as normal as you can and see how these two drivers perform with 10 shots. You get 20 golf balls.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So swing away. Right, before we dive into the numbers, give me your first kind of impressions of these two drivers. What was one feeling any different to the other?
Well, obviously I'm used to the Titleist,
yeah,
and I'm used to the lightness, so it feels the lightness of it.
Yeah.
So immediately the other driver feels just so much heavier.
Yeah. Okay.
It just feels that the head is heavier, the shaft is heavier.
Right, that's interesting. Okay, yeah.
But I kind of feel I've got more control with it. I didn't have a problem with the offset.
No,
I thought that would be very strange when I first looked at it. Visually, I absolutely no problem.
Okay. Once you started hitting a few shots, this is what I found with it as well, is once I started hitting a few shots and seeing results with it, I know you're not seeing any results here at the moment, but it's almost like my mindset got drawn away from it once I'd started seeing ball flight and seeing it get out there.
Yeah, and because it's very strange. I guess to most people who, my thing is because I do a lot of putting, I see so many different necks and so many different positions with the head that when I put it down on the ball, I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's like that.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like, you know, it's a different putter in a strange way.
Did one feel more powerful than the other?
Yeah, and I'm finding that's my issue I've got with the Titleist. It was designed to be a lighter shaft because I'm an older man.
Yes.
Right? But I felt that I can't give it any real oomph. I can't really kind of put power behind it because I feel it just gets out of control. So I have to kind of try and place what I'm doing. And I'm always thinking about how bad it's going to go if I go wrong.
Right, okay.
The other one feels like, yeah, I've got potential with this, and I think if I went out and had a lot of practices with it, then it could really go more.
Words you were saying to me was more meaty.
More meaty, yes.
It felt, the Oximity felt more meaty than the other one?
Like a heavier, stronger hammer.
Okay, yeah. Well, maybe slightly heavier in its weight is going to give you that sense of a. Well, let's dive into the numbers and take a closer look, shall we?
Well, obviously, and you see it from the numbers, you'll see it on the screen. I am a higher handicapper. I'm 22.
Yeah.
I'm pretty erratic with the driver, and that's why I'm due to try and improve. Okay, well that's fine. I mean, we all go through ups and downs when it comes to our game, and if you're not playing a great deal at the moment, you're always going to see. It's definitely going to be a fireworks situation. We don't have all things going right, everything going left.
But for the majority of golfers out there, that's what I expect to see anyway.
Yeah.
Is some inconsistencies. We're not always going to hit the middle of the golf club every single time, are we? We're not always going to get that club face to square up every single time. So this is why I think the blind testing is actually so important, because I don't want you reacting to the shot that you've previously hit.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about, let's start with ball speed off the club face, okay? So we've got 10 shots with the TS1, we've got 10 shots with the Oximity. Now, from a ball speed point of view, you're getting 119 mile an hour out of the Titleist, compared to 122 mile an hour out of the Oximity. So you're getting a little bit more ball speed off the club face. So you said that you felt like it was meaty.
Yeah.
Well, you're feeling that meaty maybe feels like it's got a little bit more power in it, and the numbers probably back that up from what we're seeing here today. From a launch point of view, from the TS1, which is at 9.5 degrees in setting, compared to the Oximity, which is 10.5, we talked about that.
Yeah.
This is actually launching fractionally higher compared to what we're getting out of the Oximity. Titleist is launching at 15.7 compared to the Oximity launching at 14.3. So delivery wise, if I have a little look at your actual loft that you're delivering 23 degrees of loft out of that Titleist compared to 20 degrees of loft out of the Oximity. Now I think you got to talk about things like shaft, you got to think about weight, stuff like that. I think that what's happening with that Titleist is you're possibly, because it's so lightweight, you're maybe just flicking up on it a little bit more. Maybe the shaft is kicking it up a little bit more, which is giving you more loft, which is then giving you a higher launch. Now, when we go into the spin numbers, pretty much the same. 2,638 revs out of the Titleist compared to 2,695 revs out of the Oximity, which I really like. I think both of those numbers are really quite manageable in what you're getting. Both peaking out 24 yards high, so not seeing a great deal of difference in that. But the yardage, you're 178 yards on an average carry with your Titleist compared to 188 yards out of the Oximity.
Which I'm obviously going to be happy with. You know, I'm an old man, you know, 59 with a back problem. I'm not going to hit 230, 240 yards. You've
gained 10 yards by simply a change in the driver. Now, I think that 10 yards is coming from the more ball speed. 100% is coming from the more ball speed that you're getting out with it. It's getting it out there just a little bit quicker. Now, if we then look at the proximity to the hole.
Go on. That's frightening. Go on.
Well, you know, yes, you are scattering that Titleist. You can see here that you're running it across the page. You're going around 46 yards to the right on one shot.
On some of them,
out of the page. You know, I can't see the end result of where they are. So between your worst to worst, from left to right, you are 90, I think it's around 90 yards is between left and right.
I'm playing on other fairways and whatever every time.
Out of all those shots that you've hit there, 2 of them are out of, basically out of
and at my level, 2 really duff ones as you kind of expect anyway.
But if I put it up against what we're seeing out of the Oximity, shot to shot, yes, you still have one that shot off down that right-hand side, but it stayed in our picture, so we can still see it. And yes, you've got a couple that go down the left-hand side, but again, not extreme.
No.
Still in the area of the golf course. And the difference between your worst left to your worst right is 60 yards. Okay, so you're seeing a 30-yard improvement from your worst to worst. And we know that worst to worst, like your 2 worst here, are pretty much still on the golf course, where your 2 worst that we've hit with the Titleist are off the golf course. So you're losing penalty shots for losing golf balls.
At my level, okay, they're going to be in the rough or whatever, but I got another shot. I can use, that's why I use my extra shots. But off the course, lose the shot, take 3 off the tee and all those kind of things.
Now, this is the interesting thing when I look at your strike location. Okay, now I always said that when you get into heel, and this won't be for everybody, but for a lot of people it will be, if you're somebody that is a CG tracker, if the weight is pushed into the heel of the driver, you may strike it more towards the heel. Whereas in the Oximity, we've got more of a focus of offset rather than in the heel, so that club is all wanting to catch up as it kind of comes through rather than pushing all the weight to slow the heel down, quicken up the toe. It's not a great deal of difference, but you've got 8mm on an average in the heel of that Titleist compared to an average of 4mm that you're getting out of the Oximity driver. So if I'm honest with you, John, the fact that your swing speed is pretty much the same within like half a mile an hour of each other, 1 mile an hour of each other on shot to shot, your efficiency is better out of the Oximity than it is with the Titleist. Your dispersion is tighter with the Oximity than it is to the Titleist. Your ball speed is further, you're hitting it slightly further. Based on those numbers, you would be looking at an Oximity that would overshadow what you're getting out of the Titleist driver from this blind testing that we've got here today. It's interesting, isn't it? It is interesting what you're getting out of it. What I expected to see, if I'm brutally honest, I expected to see the rate of closure. I expected that club to really close down on John just a little bit more. Not seeing a great deal of difference.
No, because you've done lessons with me, you know what normally happens to me.
What's fascinating with this is that really both these clubs are doing the job when it comes to helping a player straighten up the club face. We know that on average, and by the way, you've improved massively on this because your swing path on average was around 5 or 6 degrees out to in. You are now, from a swing path point of view, you're 0.7 with the Titleist and 0.8 the Oximity of out to in. So I always said that I wanted a two degree difference between going from center to out to in. You could be 2 degrees either way. You've brought that down to 0.7. So you're absolutely right where we wanted you to be.
At that point of when we had lessons.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely. So all in all, really quite tidy.
Yeah, I'm very happy. And like I said, people will see a firework and go, oh, he's not that good. Well, I understand I'm not that good.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to change.
Yeah.
Because right now, if I get a choice, I'm going for the Oximity.
Yeah.
And I just want to go out and take it on the course now and give it a go.
That's what you have to do. You have to go out to see it, to believe what's kind of happening with these numbers are one thing and blind testing is one thing. But I wanted you to blind test it because I wanted to see you not focus on the result all the time.
Well, I think everyone when he has lessons, when they have fittings, they keep seeing those trackers and they go, oh, they've pulled a bit. You automatically kind of try and adjust things, which you shouldn't want to do. I've lost confidence in my driver, in my Titleist.
Okay.
Because I hit a lot of hill shots.
Yeah.
And the bad ones go out so badly, I can't control it. And I feel every time I've tried to put more power into it, put more speed in it, I lose control even more.
Yeah.
But with the Oximity, I feel that there's potential there. Only on those few shots, I just feel there's potential. We can go faster now, and I feel it's not going to cause me a problem. Not going to go so much even worse.
Yeah. Okay. So you're just gaining a little bit of confidence, but ultimately, from this video, it wasn't a case of going right. This is better. You need to go out and think. I just wanted to see the difference in it from your side. You need to take that on the golf course.
Yeah.
And you need to have a go with it and see and compare them when you get out on the golf course as well. But swing with freedom.
Yeah.
I want you to swing with freedom. I feel like you swing with in a position where sometimes you're just trying to hit fairways all the time. I want you to forget about the outcome, focus on the technique of what you're trying to do with that particular shot, whether it's a draw or a fade or whatever you're trying to do, or high or low. Focus on that rather than focusing on a massive concern of what's happening.
I think as a high handicapper, I swing with fear because I worry about the end result. What's going to happen? The end result.
Confidence is low. You're going to swing with fear. I want you to forget about that for a minute. You're not focused on playing in lots of tournaments and stuff like that. So focus on just getting it out there and compare the two of them together on the golf course. See the difference on the golf course, and it will be interesting to get your feedback on that.
Well, you'll be seeing it soon, but I think we're going to be playing you at some point.
Absolutely
yes, we are. So
we'll get it out on the golf course
I'll put
together.
on that. Yeah,
absolutely right. Well, there you go. There is our little blind testing between the TS1 by Titleist, which is that draw bias driver, compared to what we're getting out of that Oximity. Now, the results that came in with John, a little bit maybe fractionally different to what I was expecting. I was expecting to see a little bit more rotation of that club face and almost like closing down a little bit more. Not seeing a great deal of that. However, I'm seeing consistency with him, getting it out there with a little bit more ball speed, getting it out there with a little bit more yardage, and his proximity to the fairway or the hole just a little bit tighter, which I think over time is going to give him the confidence that he can shoot that ball out there just a little bit further, a little bit more straighter on the golf course. But I'd like to hear down in the comments, what did you think about that little get together with John? Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and make sure you're going onto TikTok and following John Ogden, Big Oggy. See you soon on the next video.